When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
Well, greetings and welcome to another wonderful podcast, vlogcast, vlogish-cast, whatever you want to call it, cast. We are doing it.
Codplast.
And we are heading into another one of those longish award episodes. So sit back, relax, put your feet up by the fire, but not into the fire that burns. And we will be here to guide you through another entertainment vlogcast.
Yep. So if you didn't want to spend 3 hours watching celebrities thank people that no one ever heard of and Satan, then you can listen to us talk
for
about
an
it.
hour or so. Yeah. So we're going to try, one of the things with the vlogcast is we're trying to shorten the time period that we take. Typical vlog, an hour and a half is about norm. So we'll see how we can do for our time. We got a lot to cover, so we're going to move forward. Do you have a lot of stuff you've been watching or starting this week?
Well, not an extraordinary amount, but it's been some cool stuff. And there's been some reading mixed in as well. And I guess as per usual, I'll try and start with the finished stuff. I have finished Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions Heartthrob. So, essentially, I finished the series. I still need to watch Rika version, and I still need to track down and watch the movie. Now, last week I mentioned some of the basics. You've got Yuta, who, Togashi, I think was his name, Yuta Togashi, who is a guy who would give anything to bury his middle school years permanently. And then you got his neighbor, Rika Takanashi, who is a current practicing Chunibyo. And the other members of... I can't even remember the name of the club. It's so weird. It's something like the Far East Magical Research Napping Society or something. Summer Interlude or something. What's that?
I think napping was in there.
Yeah, napping was in there because there's an older, their senpai, Kumin senpai, who has no history of Chunibyo, but wants to institute a napping club because she loves to nap. And you find out in Heartthrob there's actually a sport.
There's a napping sport?
Yes. That was an interesting episode. And then you've also got Shinka Nibutani, who is pretty much the hottest girl in school. She is the freshman who opens up the commencement speech. And she starts weirdly hanging around Yuta, and you come to realize that she also used to be a Chunibyo and was trying to get back the evidence of this. And the evidence currently is in the stewardship of Sanai Dekomori, who is a year younger than them, currently in middle school. She joins the high school in the second season. And her master is Wicked Lord Shingen, which is Rika's persona. So it's an odd group. And it's a really fun show. It's really well done. Animation is gorgeous. It's absolutely phenomenal animation. The opening and ending themes leave something to be desired, especially for season 2. But the overall use of music is pretty good. They do get somewhere in season 2. It doesn't completely sputter and stall, but there could have been a lot more romantic development in this series, and a lot of people were put out that they didn't do more of that.
Yeah, well.
But it's a fun show, and it's very well worth watching. And what's up?
Oh, no worries.
Oh.
The light. The light, it burns us.
And the other thing I finished, which I'll go ahead and mention as start, is I finally finished Season 9 of Friends and started Season 10, the last season. So I got that to look forward to.
Wow.
Yeah. And I finished reading Fear, Trump in the White House. Yeah.
Well, we'll hold off.
We'll hold off on that. And then you can go ahead and do some stuff.
Well, some quick stuff. Stuff that I'm... Since you get stuff that was finished first, I guess I will do that.
Oh, okay.
And then I can get to the ongoing stuff a little bit later. I finished watching a lot of this. I actually finished today all of the stuff in that $20 lot I bought.
Oh.
And only one movie was scratched to the point where I couldn't watch it.
Was it worth $20?
Yeah, it was worth $20. I got some good trauma stuff in there. And I wouldn't have gotten to watch that Killer Lawnmower movie. That to me was worth it right there. But there are a lot of good things that I did watch this week. Out of the ones this time, they were okay. Raw Meat was one of the first ones, which it was a slasher, and it was a 78 slasher, and it was okay. I don't remember much of it. And when I don't remember much of something, it was boring to me, and that means it was okay. But to talk about one would be Asylum of Terror. To me, Asylum of Terror it had all the makings of a really awesome slasher film. Because it takes place in this mental asylum for like a forensic unit, essentially. And one of the former inmates comes back to do some finishing of the job. And they are doing this, they decided to convert this into this giant Halloween, like, haunted house, you know, like they see in, like, in the movies like the House that October Built, something like that. And it was really cool as a concept. I just wish that the lighting was a little bit better and the pacing was a little bit better, because otherwise it had all the makings. You could have been great. You could have been a contender, but you weren't. Yeah, you know, you got knocked out in the first round. But still, lots of potential. Still a decent film. Just wish I had seen better or more.
Okay.
You have more probably, I'm sure, of finished stuff.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and mention, I guess, my ongoing, since, I had a little bit, and there wasn't much. Some CSI and some Cat's Eye. And then I am continuing with Cat's Eye. I'm getting some of it done.
You're going to beat it this time.
Yes, I'm going to beat it. And and as far as the reading goes, I did actually read 2 complete books following the Trump one. Messenger, the 3rd book in Lois Lowry's Giver Quartet. I finally read that, and that was a real quick read. I mean, real quick. And it finally answered the question of, well, it didn't fully, but it sort of answered the question of, what in the heck is the relation between the first 2 books? It sort of falls into place now with the 3rd one.
There
a
you
little
go.
bit. Yes. I'm still not positive who Leader is, but I know he's from The Giver. I know that much. And then there is, and then there was a really interesting book that I saw this and I was like, ooh, that looks like my kind of book. But it was a hold, but then it came back and it wasn't a hold, and I was like, I'm getting this, and I read it right away, and it's called The Coen Brothers. This book really ties the films together. Which I love that subtitle there. But it's written by, I can't remember the author. I should have written that down. But it's been written by a critic who is a huge fan of the Coens. And it's very interesting because he takes every single one of their films seriously. and it covers every film from Blood Simple up through Hail Caesar. And it was a very interesting. There was a lot of information there. I'm sure it might actually improve your appreciation for a serious man.
Well, it's hard. It's probably one of my least favorite films.
Well, he does make full acknowledgement of the fact that a lot of people, apparently one critic coined a phrase of Cohen dissension, where they basically will... You probably agree with this, that there are films they've made where they seem to hate their characters.
Yes.
And A Serious Man was one, and the one from Paris Je T'aime was definitely one.
Yes.
Yes.
That also bothered me.
And he does make a couple of references to the very painful presence of Steve Buscemi in Coen Brothers films.
Yeah.
But one thing that I found very interesting and puzzling is he brings in a lot of references. He shows a lot of the background. Like, the Coens are known for making nods to other things, sometimes really obscure things. But one that I always thought was obvious, he never once mentioned. He never once mentioned a connection between Barton Fink and Sullivan's Travels.
Did he get the connection for Himiko's... Was it Himiko's the Treasure
Kumiko the Treasure Hunter? Actually, there is an interview in there with the Zellner brothers about Kumiko the Treasure Hunter.
So he did get
Was,
that.
yeah. And he interviews a musician who wrote a song called Donnie's Death Scene for Donnie from Big Lebowski. And he interviews a lot of people like Roger Deakins who are involved with the production of the Coens, which was really cool. It was a well-made book, and it is exactly the kind of info you'd expect in a Criterion. Like, if Criterion does a definitive Coen collection, they're going to have excerpts from this book. You know, it's going to be...
Most definitely.
Yeah, but I couldn't believe he did not make the connection between Barton Fink and Sullivan's Travels. I just thought that was weird.
I thought that was fairly obvious, too.
Yeah. He does make a connection, oddly enough, between Sullivan's Travels and The Lady Killers.
What about Oh Brother?
He definitely talks about that.
One
Yeah,
there,
he does. Does talk there.
I do need to do some more. I need to watch Hail Caesar. I've watched pretty much all the Coen films myself. I'm not as big a fan as you are of them, but I do like most of their films. I have this issue with their comedy in some aspects, because sometimes I feel like they laugh at people's pain and suffering, which is harder for me to laugh at. And that's more like, it's more plain in things like A Serious Man, Burn After Reading. They're darker films.
I thought both of those had kind of a mean spirit, and I didn't really like Burn After Reading either. But part of that was also my favorite character my favorite two characters are the two that end up getting killed in the film.
That's weird. I've seen Burn After Reading and A Serious Man 3 times each, so at least I can say I've given them a chance. Yes.
You've seen them more than I have.
So I finished off this $20 set with Cult of Fury. I almost said Cult of Furry. Well, that would be a different one.
That'd be a whole different film.
But this one is one... It's a by the numbers, like buddy cop action thriller about this cultist who has disdain for gambling and stuff like that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help. You said by the numbers buddy cop action thriller, and I'm still thinking Cult of Furries, and I'm thinking, wow, that would be a...
See, we've got several directors who watch this. This should give them ideas for something they can make. This could be a good horror film. The Cult of the Third. No, a buddy cop action film. Yes, Cult of the Furries. But in any case, this cultist leader really doesn't like a lot of things. You know, society's gone to heck and all this. So he takes his fiance. This is our honeymoon. I'm going to show you. She's like, "Oh, you're taking me on a cruise?" No, and he blows up the cruise ship. So she leaves him for some reason. I don't know why. And he ends up hunting her down to Vegas because she makes the leap from pious religious girl to Vegas showgirl very quickly. And they go track her down to Vegas.
Because why not?
and she's performing at the very hotel that these two cops, these partners, seem to be at. Because the one partner tracked down the other partner who was drowning his sorrows in this particular place. And so they were there when the whole thing went down. And they planted bombs all over it, and it wasn't that bad. I felt like they hung around in the basement of the casino too much, just doing exposition. But it did have a kind of die-hardish buddy cop vibe. And the scene at the end with the Hoover Dam is kind of cool, actually. I was there, and I like ones that take place in Vegas. I had a vacation in Vegas once a while back, and I don't know what it is, but Vegas films do have something that does interest me. I'm going to go ahead and finish off my completed. I do have some stuff of watching, and I'll do that next. But I finally got to see Won't You Be My Neighbor for Oscar viewing. And I must say, it was a very, very good documentary. I have never watched a documentary before that has actually had me cry. I mean, not really like sobbing tears, but like tearing up. And though there's several emotions I don't usually get from there, and fear was one that I thought that Nightmares documentary was just the Haunting in Connecticut documentary. I didn't think that I would get scared by any of those, but that evoked that. This one, it pulled tears because of something that you don't see today. Empathy. He was such a good man, at least for what we know.
Right.
I mean, there could be some Me Too issues that came up with him. I hope not. I hope he remains pure. We've got to have some pure and good left in the world.
Right.
But he was truly a good individual. For all we know, he was an excellent individual. And just seeing that concept, it brought tears to my eyes that something like this could exist in today's world.
I never knew until watching the film how instrumental he was in PBS. I had no idea. That's like,
I mean, when he does this thing where they're talking to the congressman who wants to shut him down, he gives that speech. And the congressman's like, well, you've earned your funding right here. And just, but that just shows you what kind of man he is. If you watch any documentary this year, this is one of those to watch.
Right.
I am very, very much hoping that this gets some love. I do not know the winners. I have not seen a lot of them. I've seen a few of the winners of the Golden Globes, so I'm going to be looking at these for the first times.
They don't even have a documentary category, do they?
So I'll be curious. I'll be curious how it does. I'm sure it will get a nod. But it was awesome.
I've seen 3 so far this year that I think are very probably going to get Oscar nods. That's one of them. RBG and 3 Identical Strangers are probably also... Oh, did I? I didn't put that on my list. Okay, so I tipped my hand a bit. 3 Identical Strangers I had not done before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is another one that is probably going to be up for an Oscar this year. And it's a very fascinating documentary. It really is. It's very well done. Almost as good as Won't You Be My Neighbor, but I give the other one the edge. But the basic gist of it is you have these 3 brothers who grew up not knowing they had brothers. They all grew up in New York, within about 100 miles of each other. One grew up in a working class family, one grew up in a middle class family, one grew up in a more affluent family. They met by accident. The 2 of them met by accident the sophomore year of college. It's a really fascinating story, and if you watch the movie, you'll get more detail, and it's real. But these 2, they met by accident, and it turned out that they were twins. And they had no idea. They knew they were adopted, but that was it. Then their story made so many waves locally, all the papers carried it and everything, because it was this big story. It turned out there was another one. They were identical triplets, and none of them had any clue. And then, so you get into this whole thing about it was a big media circus. The three of them capitalized on their fame for about 10 years. And really, they started a restaurant together, did all this stuff together. But then they started to find out that there was more to the story. And I don't want to get too deep into it because it's really, you watch the show, you'll learn a lot. It's very interesting. But suffice it to say, there was a shady science experiment going on. And it was really interesting. It was really, really kind of, that was another one. It was kind of touching because it was kind of like, you know, you're watching it and it gives you one of those dilemmas, ethical dilemmas of like, were these people actually doing something that could be defensible, or was it just completely indefensible? You know, and you get interviews with various people involved. Two of the brothers, all their wives, various individuals. It was just really good. It was really well made and very interesting. And you said you had more watched, or just
just the stuff that I'm watching.
Okay.
It's, I'm done with watched.
Okay.
But I have watching.
Okay. Well, I'll just go ahead and throw out. You probably got this on your list too. In preparation for this week's Movies Galore, I watched Die Hard again.
I forgot to put that on.
And that was that's always a fun movie.
Always a fun romp.
But yeah.
And I've got the whole set on Blu-ray, so it's kind of cool watching it. And
Yeah.
I've had it on DVD for all this time.
Yeah.
This is the first time watching it in high definition, so that's kind of cool.
Talking about, well, mine was still on DVD, but yeah, talking about your cop stuff, your buddy cop stuff, and whatever. It's kind of a buddy cop film in a way. And it's really fun the way they kind of structure that. Oh, jeez. And oh, man, I just remembered you'd put something in my brain, and I launched into the documentary thing, but talking about cop stuff and Vegas and furries and all that stuff. And there is that CSI episode that involves all three.
Oh. See, they did do it. They did do the Cult of the Pure Furries episode.
Oh, God. Anyway.
So, I got into a new series, which was Red versus Blue.
Oh, very
I got
good.
a giant set, and I wanted to go ahead and get started with it. I was doing it while I was filing all of the Black Friday and Right Stuff goods into my collection.
Good deal.
And I got through the first 2 seasons doing that. And I think I'm on season 4 now. I've still got a good ways left before I can come close right now. Just what I've got, I still am not even close. But it's kind of fun. It uses all the old Halo graphics, and they put these little stories together about the red team and the blue team and their incompetence. It's what got Rooster Teeth on the map, so it's worth checking out and enjoying. Okay with the series so far. I hope that there's some fans out here can tell me where the most awesome parts of the series are, so that they can be informative. I also have caught up with the 7 Deadly Sins.
Oh.
I've watched everything that Netflix has on it, which is pretty much where it's released here, because Netflix says, I mean, Netflix is behind its release here, so that's about as good as you get streaming-wise. And it's been pretty good. I've really enjoyed it. I've been getting off and on it for a while, and so I'm glad I'm finally finishing it. I've only got one more thing in the watching category. I know you have at least one movie you told me that you had seen.
Oh, I have 3 more that I have to talk about.
So go ahead and hit 2 of those.
Okay. One that is considered by many a classic of film noir that I had never seen before. And the opportunity presented itself, and I went for it. I finally saw a film, I believe it was directed by Otto Preminger, and that was the film Laura, which had Gene Tierney and various other individuals in it. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now. Oh, yeah, what's his name? the guy, the dude,
The guy with the thing.
the guy in the movie, in The Thing, that was in Edward Scissorhands, the famous one.
Vincent Price?
Yes, yes. Oh, man. Vincent Price as a young man,
Ah.
as a potential love interest. That was just a weird thing all around. That's why I couldn't think of the name. Not to mention, with Rebecca still on my mind, Judith Anderson was in the movie as well.
Did they find the cult of the furries?
This was before that. Jeez. Oh my god. So basically, the gist of this one is you have, oh man, and what's his name? The guy that was hilarious. There's this old dude who's hilarious. He's like a total cynic, totally bitter. I want to say his name is Cobb. Man, my memory is not good today. But basically, the gist of the film is you have this detective is investigating the murder of this woman, Laura. And he goes to interview her former, for lack of a better way of putting it, her sugar daddy. But he also helped get her start. She's like she's a designer. She's a architect, I believe. I can't remember. She's some sort of designer. And he helped her get her start in the business. But he also, very much wanted her by his side as a trophy, sort of. And then there was the guy that Vincent Price plays, who was a younger, more pure of intent, if you will. Very much likes her, very much wants to be with her. And she vanishes. Well, she doesn't vanish. She's found dead. And this detective is investigating, and he ends up falling for this dead person because he's finding out she was really awesome. I'm not going to go any further than that because there is a twist and there's all this other stuff that's involved, and it's a noir, so there's all that kind of, it's sort of a ghost story too. It's a fun movie. I'm glad I finally saw it. I think I was overdue to see it. I was a little disappointed at the end, but it was pretty cool. And speaking of a little bit disappointing, but in a way kind of, it was more disappointing. Honestly, it didn't really disappoint me too much because my bar was set low both times I saw it. I saw a movie that I picked up recently on Blu-ray that I had seen in theaters.
Species?
17? Well, it came out a couple years after Species. And no, I didn't see that in theaters. But I actually went to the theaters to see the Clint Eastwood directed film Space Cowboys. And I had never seen it since then. And so I watched it. Huh?
Classic.
Well, it's actually a really fun movie. I really like it. It's got Clint Eastwood, Donald Sutherland, James Garner, Tommy Lee Jones, James Cromwell, Marcia Gay Harden, Rade Zerbediga. Who else was in it? William Devane. I mean, it's got an impressive cast. I think John Hamm shows up in one of his first credits. It's a really impressive cast, and it is, to put it bluntly, you kind of have to turn the brain off because there is definitely this would not happen. This film could not happen. You got to turn the brain off a little bit. It's kind of like what was it? I think I heard someone say Grumpy Old Men meets Armageddon. It's kind of in that vein, but it's really fun. And if you're not expecting high art, Eastwood can make a really good film even out of a bad premise. He is a good director. So, yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
He's got talent. I'll
Yes.
give him that. The last thing I'm doing here is I did start up watching Toradora again.
Oh, good times.
For reasons that will make themselves known in a pickup in a future time.
Yes.
So, to me, though, Toradora is kind of cool to revisit.
Right.
And I was very much surprised because I'm not used to NIS doing dubs.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't expecting it.
Uh-huh.
I got what I got for for another reason. So I didn't think about them being dubbed because they never dub their stuff.
Right. Well, they were starting to.
So I'm sitting there, I'm listening, and I'm like, wait, that's not Japanese. That's English.
Perceptive of you. Very perceptive.
Which makes my watching much more quick when I do it, because I like to watch, I usually like to have stuff on the background while I do paperwork, and I can do that when it's not in Japanese. So I'll probably get through it much more quickly. For those of you who don't know about Toradora, it is an excellent series.
It is.
It's a romantic comedy series about these two particular outcasts. One of them,
Ryugi, I think is his name.
Yeah, one of them has the eyes of basically a hooligan, and then the other one,
Tenori Taiga.
Yeah, she is a hooligan.
The palm top tiger.
But she's this little, this diminutive girl.
Yes, the palm top tiger.
And they end up both having secret crushes of people, and they both decide to join forces in order to try and go after the secret crushes together.
She has a crush on his best bud, and he has a crush on her best friend.
So that's where I'm at right now. At the beginning, I've only watched 3 episodes of the series so far. Again, not that I'm saying like I haven't watched it, because this will be my 3rd or 4th watch through of the series, and probably my 5th or 6th of the Christmas specials.
Oh,
so I will be watching that, and I will report more probably next week. I might be through with it, or actually won't have a vlogcast next week. So by the time we do a vlogcast again,
yes,
we will. I will probably be done with that series.
Cool.
That's all of my watched. I know you got a big one that you hit this week.
Real quick though, we were just joking about perception and that kind of thing. One of my very, very, very favorite moments in Die Hard is when the Tool, Ellis, decides he's going to be big man on campus and go negotiate with the terrorists. Yeah. And not realizing that he is a tool and a moron and a dingbat and doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And Hans Gruber could negotiate circles around him without even trying. And I just love Alan Rickman's reactions to the things he's saying. He's like he comes in like, you guys don't want to be here, some obvious thing, and Rickman's like, you figured that yourself, did you? Or something like that, just dripping with sarcasm, but not enough to where this idiot will realize it. And I'm just like, Alan Rickman was the king of sarcasm, and he just
and it was a special role for him.
Yes. But at any rate, speaking of special roles, I'm not sure. Maybe I am. I don't know. I went yesterday to see a film that last night surprised a lot of people at the Golden Globes. And we'll get to the Globe analysis shortly.
Very shortly, yeah.
But I finally got to go see a movie that I've been wanting to see, that I've been hearing phenomenal reports about for a couple, 3 weeks now. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Lucky.
It is such a good movie. Now, I will make a couple of quick asterisks to that. One, I do not know if this is the fault of the movie. I probably won't know for sure. If anyone watching knows, please let us know in the comments. I don't know if what I saw on screen was absolutely 100% the art style they were going for, or if the theater I was in accidentally showed us a 3D print. I don't know for sure, but I do know there were multiple times throughout the movie where I felt that things blurred out of focus and it looked like a 3D film without glasses.
That is very possible that they did.
I think that is what happened. I don't know for sure. But I do know that other than that, which threw me out of the film and ticked me off because it was throwing me out of the film, other than that, the art was pretty phenomenal. I love the art style. I love the way they did it for the most part. And I hope it was just the theater screwed up. of course, it kind of annoys me when I pay $10 for a ticket that the theater would screw up, but you know. So the next thing is certain elements have to be just taken with a grain of salt. I mean, Peter Porker is not meant to be taken seriously. Spider
the most
Pig.
serious character ever.
He is not meant to be taken all that seriously. You have to just kind of go with it. But I did like the way that
Spider Ham.
Spider Ham. That's what they called him. Yeah. No, Spider Pig was Simpsons. So you had 3 very off the wall ones. You had Spider Ham, Spider-Man Noir, who was voiced by Nicolas Cage, and he actually did a fun job with the role. Who he says that the world he comes from is all in black and white and everything like that. And then you had her name was Pam Parker, I think it was, who is an anime schoolgirl with a giant robot that she somehow controls through a link with her spider. And this is a character I'm not at all familiar with, but she is done in anime style. They don't hold back. She is straight up anime style.
Yeah.
And I liked how they made it work. But the main trio, of course, you've got Miles Morales, who is that universe's soon-to-be Spider-Man. You've got Peter B. Parker, an alternate Spider-Man. And then you have Gwen Stacy. And that was the big selling point for me. Spider-Gwen is freaking awesome. She is one of my favorite current characters in comics. And I really wanted to see her on screen. I had no idea she was voiced by Haley Steinfeld. That was an awesome bonus. You got Peter B. Parker as Jake Johnson. Miles Morales is... I had the name in my brain. I had it. I was ready. Because I can't remember crap today. I don't know what's up. But there was some really good supporting cast. Liev Schreiber plays the Kingpin and does a fine job with that. Aunt May is voiced by Lily Tomlin. And I got to say, this is the most badass Aunt May ever.
So is this old Aunt May? Is this young, hot Aunt May? Is this...
Neither.
Okay.
She is not young, hot. Tony Stark wants to mac on her Aunt May.
Okay.
Although Tony Stark might mac on this one. I don't know. It's Tony Stark. And she's not old feeble. She is pretty badass. She actually fights in the movie. She was pretty fun. And like I said, Lily Tomlin does a really good job with the vocals. And then you had Mahershala Ali, who won a Golden Globe as well, who plays Miles' Uncle Aaron, who... I'm not going to spoil it for those of you who don't know the comics, but those of you who do, you know what's coming. And that was pretty cool. It was really good. It was a really good movie. Really great use of music. Again, I wonder if the art style was exactly what I saw, because if it was, it loses some points for that. But otherwise,
do you think story-wise it has any? It brings any competition to The Incredibles, to your mind?
Oh yeah, actually, that's an important point. Story-wise, I have not read most of the comics that this was specifically based on. It was specifically based on the Ultimate Spider-Man storyline with Miles, and I've read bits and pieces of that. However, when they introduce each of the Spider-Men, they do show scenes from... I have seen everything they showed in Gwen's backstory I read in the comics. Her backstory was 100% taken directly out of the comics. And for Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man, the one who opens the movie... They use the movies as the touchstones. They show scenes taken directly from the films. And in fact, one of the really funny parts, they changed a little bit. Because I think in that part in Spider-Man 3 that we all want to forget, where Tobey Maguire's like strut walking down the street dancing, I think he was in the Peter Parker persona. In the movie, he's in his Spider-Man suit doing that. And then he kind of brushes it aside and says, "We don't talk about that." I like that. I like that little thing. And I liked a couple there's a throwaway reference to Banksy. So it's obviously not just for kids, you know.
And,
it's like
I do want to see it.
Yeah.
And, I might have to sneak off to a matinee if it's still playing in the weekend or something like that. But I really do want to see it because it is one of those, I think, people are putting all these hopes on Black Panther winning, like, the big awards because, this is the hope for a black superhero to actually win. But to me, if you're going to put your hopes on a black superhero, Miles Morales is where your money needs to be. But that's what... this is just from the buzz. I've seen Black Panther. I have not seen this, but that's my thoughts.
Right. I mean, Black Panther has a lot of possible... Honestly, though, if anything gets it, it's going to be the film. It's not going to be anyone in the film.
No, but again, it's still that there is that importance when it comes to it. And having a person of color being in the center role is a huge thing. I mean, for the longest time, Hollywood say, person of color in the front? No, I won't sell any tickets. Right. And this has been proven.
Shameik Moore, that's who it is. Shameik Moore. Now I got to remember what I know him from. I feel like he was in Dope.
But, this has been one of those years.
Yep, he was in Dope. Yeah.
This is one of those years that has been proving that whole perception wrong. It's still been proved wrong with a lot of other things. I mean, shoot, the Star Wars movie, the seventh one.
The seventh one.
That one showed, again, a female in a lead role, a minority character in a leadish role, leadish, I guess. They can sell tickets. And I think this is important. I really do.
You're talking, though, about racial representation. This is a weird little snippet about the film. Mary Jane is presented in the film as traditional Mary Jane.
Oh, okay.
Red hair. They play up the redhead part with the freckles, like she is freckled to no end. But she's actually voiced by Zoe Kravitz, which I thought was kind of a weird little... oh, yeah, and you had Catherine Hahn as Doc Ock, Chris Pine as the other Peter Parker. They do have Kimiko Glenn plays Penny Parker, so there's actually a little bit of Asian representation. That's really cool. Okay, so she's done a couple things.
Oh.
Yeah, anyway.
I hate to move things forward, but we're running out of time, and I want to get us to the Globes. Is there any news that you feel like you need to hit before we go to the Globes?
I don't have much for news. I was planning mostly to do the Globes, but I do have a couple.
Oh, go for it.
One that they have announced that Kevin Smith is in pre-production for the Jay and Silent Bob sequel.
Yeah, I saw the picture.
And the other one is that apparently Bruce Campbell will be hosting Travel Channel's Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Ooh.
Which I have to admit, the idea of Bruce Campbell hosting Believe It or Not...
I want to see it.
That could be fun.
Most of the Believe It or Not series I've seen so far have been good and fun. I like watching oddities in the world.
Right.
Not just freak shows, but just oddities in general.
Oddities, yeah.
Oddities, yeah.
Yep, and Bruce Campbell is definitely an oddity of the world.
He is an oddity indeed. His massive chin. Anything else for us, though?
Oh, he should have had a cameo in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Stan Lee does, incidentally.
Good. I knew that he had one filmed before. Nintendo's president did make an announcement. It's got people panicking because they're saying, well, our focus doesn't need to be on our consoles. It needs to be on things like phone games and mobile games. And that's got a lot of people panicking. I do think that Nintendo will probably be doubling down on the microtransaction, pay-to-win type spectrum.
Yeah.
But I think that they're not going to totally drop what they've got as a winning thing. And right now the Switch is really winning. So, before we move forward, anything else before?
That was what I had, really.
All right, let's launch in. We're picking up speed. All right, so we're going to do this like we did with the last one.
Wasn't there a new Speed movie out this week?
I was trying to forget.
That's a good tagline for most of Travolta's films.
But we're going to start again from the bottom and go up.
Okay.
And I don't have all the nominees on here, but it is we do have the winners, which will be fine for this time.
Yep.
So I'll have you start since I just ended talking.
Okay. This is the winners of this year's Golden Globes.
Yes.
Best performance by an actor in a supporting role in a series, limited series, or motion picture made for television. Ben Whishaw for A Very English Scandal.
I've heard of it.
I want to see this show. It sounds very English.
It does, indeed.
But and Ben Wishaw's pretty cool. I could see him doing a good performance. I don't know enough about the role or the show.
Well, next, best performance by an actress in a supporting role in a series, limited series, or motion picture made for television. Patricia Clarkson in Sharp Objects.
Very cool.
I could have predicted that for you. I already saw the win, I think, on the Emmys, I believe. So I figured that was going to be what happened.
She is very, very talented. It's an adaptation of a Gillian Flynn novel.
I need to see Sharp Objects,
I need to see that. Best performance by an actor in a limited series or motion picture made for television. Darren Criss for The Assassination of Gianni Versace, American Crime Story.
Ooh, I saw the first season of American Crime Story.
Now, who did he play on Glee? He was on Glee, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
I have no clue. It has been a while since I've watched even an episode of Glee.
Yeah, apparently he's become pretty big lately.
Other than the cameo of of Other Asian, as he was called in Glee.
Harry Shum Jr., yeah.
and Crazy Rich Asians.
Now, the other one I could have seen just because.
Best performance by an actress in a limited series or motion picture made for television. Patricia Arquette, Escape at Dannemora, thank you. So, you knew this one then.
Well, it's Patricia Arquette. They love giving her awards.
Oh.
I don't know. I had a feeling she would win. I do want to see this. I don't know. Best television limited series or motion picture made for television. The Assassination of Gianni Versace, American Crime Story from FX. So, that one did pretty well, and it looks interesting.
I think this is the third season of American Crime Story.
I think so.
Yeah,
it's one of those anthology series.
The first one was very, very racially charged. I remember that. And the second one was very racially charged. But I don't know if this one is. So
I don't know.
I've seen all of the first season. And it was really good. I got to give it that. It was a good one. All right. Best performance by an actor in a television series, musical, or comedy. Michael Douglas in The Kominsky Method.
Very cool.
Never heard of that one, have you?
I had heard murmurings of the show. Douglas, of course, is a very talented actor who I'm curious to see this one.
They got a picture of it there.
Is this an Amazon series? Oh, Netflix. Yeah, of course it's Netflix. Best performance by an actress in a television series, musical, or comedy. Rachel Brosnahan in The Marvelous Miss Maisel.
I need to watch that.
I need to see that too.
I have access to the streaming service it is on. I can't remember which one. But
that might be Amazon.
I think that one is Amazon.
Yeah.
I've heard so many cool things like that.
Right.
It's just too much.
Yeah.
The television series, musical, or comedy. Best television series, musical, or comedy. The Kominsky Method. Netflix.
Yeah.
Yay, Netflix.
Pachi. Okay, next up.
All right.
Best performance by an actor in a television series drama. Richard Madden, Bodyguard. Now, I'm puzzled by this because from what I hear, the series is 6 episodes long. Isn't that by definition a mini-series?
Yeah, it's a mini-series.
But I've heard good things about it, but I haven't seen it.
Of course, they take a lot of leeway with comedy and musical, too, when it comes to these
That
things.
is for true.
Best performance by an actress in television series drama. Sandra Oh in Killing Eye. She had a good
Killing Eve.
Okay, sorry, I could not read the that looked like an eye,
Yeah.
a Y to me. But she had one heck of a speech that I heard that was
haven't gotten to
broadcast
see
up
it.
there. No, I was talking for the Globes themselves.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
No, I can't because you can't. There's no such thing as broadcast television anymore.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. No.
Oh well.
Yeah. I'll probably watch the highlights over the next couple of days.
She had one heck of a. She had one about I believe Asian actresses in there, and she did sort of like a snarky one where she was talking about Ghost in the Shell and things like this. So,
Yeah.
oh well, go for it.
She, of course, starred in your favorite movie of all time, the Sideways.
God.
All right, so best television series drama, The Americans, also from FX.
And not a surprise.
Not a surprise. I need to see that. I've heard good things.
All right, so we're out of television. So,
Yeah.
best original song and / motion picture for that song, Shallow, and A Star Is Born. Again, that's not a surprise for me. I would expect that. I expect that in the Oscars too. I've heard the song. It is good. I want to see the movie. I want to see the movie.
Yeah, I want to see the movie too. And the movie didn't get much love last night, but it did get that one.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. So, and then with best original score motion picture, Justin Hurwitz for First Man. I keep forgetting that's a Damien Chazelle film. I need to see it. I just haven't gotten to it.
Have you seen this one coming up?
No.
I know I want
I don't
to
have
see
Netflix.
It. Oh, yeah. Best motion picture foreign language, Roma.
Yes. Now, apparently, and you could consider this a news item, apparently some reporter asked Alfonso Cuarón whether it was fair, the platform that Netflix gave the film, and he came back with actually a very valid point. He was like, you cannot call this unfair because, look, Netflix gave the movie 445 screens. I think that's what they gave it. And it's a foreign film. Most foreign films don't get jack for an American release. So he has a good point. Now, if you look at it as this is Alfonso Cuarón, the guy who did Gravity and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, he could have gotten 1,000 screens. He easily could have. So Netflix still soft-pedaled his film.
Yeah.
They did it just to shut up the critics. But he did make a valid point that they could have done worse, and that when it comes to foreign cinema in general, American distributors suck and need to wake up.
Yes, they do.
They really do. So he made a good point with that.
One of the big surprises of the night.
And I get it, yes. Best motion picture animated, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Awesome movie.
I wanted to mention the nominees.
Yes, this was an historical nominees.
Because it beat out Incredibles 2, first off, and that was an amazing feat because
yes,
Pixar doesn't have a lock anymore, but
and
a good Pixar film tends
they
to
never
have.
truly had a lock at the Golden Globes.
But also it beat out Isle of Dogs.
Yes.
Ralph Beats the Internet and Mirai. I was actually really pleased that Mirai did get a nomination.
Mirai of the Future was the first ever anime in this category. Apparently, when The Wind Rises was nominated for Foreign Language Feature, for whatever reason, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association thought that was just not the way it should go. And they changed the rules, and now anime have to be nominated as animation. Which honestly is kind of a stupid rule change. It should be eligible in both categories.
Yeah, well.
But still, I did like that one of them has made it into this category finally. And after The Wind Rises, it's one of the very few anime that's ever gotten a Globes nod. So that was cool.
The only difference in the Globes and the Oscars when it comes to snobbishness is that the Globes are the boozy ones. And you look at those broadcasts. They are getting drunk by the end.
They're more eccentric, I guess you could say. But still, it was nice to see that happen. The Spider-Man.
So here's one I know I'm not going to get to see before the Oscars. It's going to make me mad, but I know it's going to get a lot of love. Best Screenplay, Motion Picture, Nick Valinonga. Oh yeah. Brian Curie and Peter Farrelly for Green Book. Green Book got a lot of love this year, and I doubt I'll get to see it.
Peter Farrelly, Golden Globe winner. Good times. So, best performance by an actor in a supporting role in any motion picture. Mahershala Ali, Green Book. So, yeah, there apparently was some issue between him and co-star Viggo Mortensen. It is a film with the name Fairly attached to it, but it's apparently good and rises above, and I need to see it.
You never thought that before, would you? Best performance by an actress in a supporting role in any motion picture. Regina King and If Beale Street Could Talk.
I figured this one was a
Yeah,
lock.
I knew this one was going to be a winner, and I really want to see it, and I'm sad I have not gotten to see it. I think it's still in theaters in some places.
I think so.
I know this next one is.
It's the film is by Barry Jenkins, so you knew it was going to get some love. It just seemed like that was easily the strongest chance I had.
Yeah.
Best performance by an actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. Christian Bale for Vice.
Yeah,
I want to see this. Did you hear about his speech?
Yeah.
I love it. I love that he thanked. A part of me hates this because
Some people were really upset by it.
some
but
people
I
are
thought it
really
was
upset.
hilarious.
But I think it's hilarious that he thanked Satan for his performance as Dick Cheney.
Well, that's the best inspiration Cheney had.
But here's the best footnote. Did you see the news blurb about the Church of Satan's response?
Probably
They're
like,
thrilled. They are thrilled. They have retweeted it and said "Hail Christian." They loved it.
Alright. Best performance by an actress in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. Olivia Colman for The Favorite.
It's the guy who did Dogtooth.
Yeah, this is hard for that. Alright.
So anyway,
I had to get a drink for that one.
yes. Best performance by an actor in a motion picture, drama. Which, why Bohemian Rhapsody is not in the musical or comedy category, I don't know. Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody.
I expect that he has a shot. Out of all things,
He has a shot.
and this is one of those that has surprised me more than anything because of what I've heard about the film. But it gets more surprising as we go. So,
The trouble that we talked about with Green Book is nothing on the trouble with this film.
best performance by an actress in a motion picture drama. Glenn Close, The Wife.
Very cool. That one was a little bit out of left field, but I have heard a lot about her performance. She apparently does a great job, so.
Actually, this one also kind of surprised me, but didn't surprise me at the end, this next one.
Really? It surprised you at all?
Eh,
So, Best Director, Motion Picture, Alfonso Cuarón, Roma. Dude is a brilliant director. He really is.
I feel like they kind of shut Black Panther, Black Klansman out.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And usually people of course the Globes are different. The Oscars will probably shun Roma because it's a foreign picture, but they have gotten a little bit better
No,
about
they'll probably shun it because it's a Netflix picture.
I don't know. They had Icarus win.
Well, yeah, but that was a documentary. I mean, whatever.
Best motion picture, musical, or comedy. Green Book.
There it is again.
And finally,
Best Motion Picture, Drama, Bohemian Rhapsody.
I don't understand it.
The two that arguably had the most trouble.
I do not understand that at all because I've heard excellent things about the acting, but I have heard the writing for Bohemian Rhapsody sucked.
And that it played very fast and loose with the actual what happened.
I've yet to see it. Now I want to see it,
Yeah, I want to see it.
but it was one of those like Dark Tower. I heard bad things about it, and I didn't want it to hurt my enjoyment of the original material.
Right.
But apparently there is a lot of good to this, and I need to see it. I mean, it and Green Book are high on my list. Green Book may never get seen because it's out of theaters. So is Bohemian Rhapsody. So they probably won't be seen before the Oscars.
Oh, they'll win lots of Oscars, and you'll have to get them.
Well, I've got Bohemian Rhapsody on pre-order, so it will be mine. Oh, yes. And so will Into the Spider-Verse, for that matter. I will see them eventually. They might be after the Oscars, but I will see them.
Way down the road.
Into the Spider-Verse and Bohemian Rhapsody will come up very quickly, especially if Bohemian Rhapsody wins Best Picture. Green Book, we'll see how it goes.
Right. Yep, we shall see. We shall see.
That's been our award-winning vlogcast.
Right.
I hope you all have enjoyed it this time
Oh,
around.
what awards did we win?
Oh yeah, we won the award for the least watched vlog.
Ooh. Oh, no, I doubt that. Actually, wait a minute. If one of the nominees, eighth grade, the character in 8th grade has a YouTube channel. We are much better on views than she is.
Oh, well, that's a good. Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, I felt for her, honestly. I was like, oh, man.
But with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this. We've managed to keep it directly at an hour, and I'm hoping for a future vlogcast that this is around the time period we get to.
Yep.
This is the magic hour.
Yep.
So for that, good night.
Goodbye.